Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where today we've got info on the next fusion. This guy, Packmaster Shy'ek, he is a Force Affinity HP based legendary for the Orcs, and he makes rare champions better. Yeah, it's a wacky kit. We're going to be breaking it all down. He is going to be the fusion starting on the 4th of July, and it's going to be a fragment fusion. So the easiest one, which is great news, simply collect 100 of his fragments through events and tournaments, and then fuse him up whenever you want. No time limit on that. So yeah, there we go. It's a bit of a break from, we've had a couple of rough fusions, so nice to hopefully get one that's a bit easier. We'll of course break it all down when we get the calendar. Probably will be on the 4th of July. We'll break down the plan, etc. Let's take a look at him though. Let me move me over to this side of the screen so we can see his full kit. It's a crazy one. We've got a 19% speed in all battles aura, which is great, good, flexible. Let's go. Kill command. Attacks one enemy. 50. That goes to a 70% chance of placing decreased defense for 2 turns. Then teams up. And you'll see this throughout everything with ally terror beasts, gore masks, hound spawns, hellfangs, fellhounds, and stitched beasts to attack. The allies joining the attack will use their default skills. So yeah, we'll look at his full kit, and then we'll check out which of these would be the best combos with him. But you've got a bunch of rare dogs and one epic dog. He can bring any and all of them into ally attack if they're on the same team. So let's say there's none of them on the same team. It's an A1 70% decrease defense. It's fine, nothing too crazy, decent. If you do have these, it's potentially very strong because he brings all them into ally attack, but is it worth it? Are they good enough, or is it a trap? We'll talk about it. Pack Alpha. 5 turn goes to a 3 turn cooldown. Removes all debuffs from this champion. Heals them by 50% of their max HP. Then places a shield on him for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to any surplus heal. That could be a very large shield. It cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred if there's at least one of the dogs on the same team. Finally, puts Taunt and reflect damage on him for 2 turns, and they can't be removed, stolen, or transferred if there's at least one dog on the same team. Yeah, I think, if the dogs are there making these buffs not removable, it's okay. I say it's nothing too crazy, not super useful, honestly, that combo. But this move by default is actually really strong. Like, I think when people look at this champion, I think the initial thought is going to be like, oh, this seems like a bit of a meme. He seems rubbish. I think this move is actually super good. So number 1, big shield, taunt, reflect damage. He'd be a very good mischief tank for Hydra. But importantly here, it looks to be a 2-turn taunt on a 3-turn cooldown. That's actually insanely good, right? If I look at the other taunt champions in the game, I mean, Emic would be probably the most well-known. He has taunt on him for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. This champion has a 2-turn taunt on a 3-turn. That's massive. Like the other taunt champions, taunt for 2 turns on a 4-turn with Green Warden Ruark. We have the new Sacred Order guy. I did a video with YST on him. He has taunt for 2 turns on a 4-turn. So I actually genuinely think this has massive potential. A 2-turn taunt on a 3-turn. Number 1 makes Phantom Shogun very, very easy. I'd say probably a lot of people seem to be finding Phantom Shogun pretty easy now. That really got nerfed a lot. Well, this guy super helps with it. He's very consistent with taunt. For Hydra, taunt prevents the heads from devouring your champions. So you can, with like Emic and Double Painkeeper, that sort of thing, you can build like a sort of undevourable Hydra team. This guy doesn't protect your team like Emic does, but it's easier to do it, right? Even with no cooldown reduction in the team, he can still taunt. I mean, if you put him in a reflex set, he's probably going to be pretty consistent at keeping taunt up the whole time, which is actually really nice at preventing or very much delaying devours. Again, even with 1 cooldown reduction champion, you can probably make it extremely consistent or reflex. So I think there's a lot of potential here. And heck, even for something like Arena, like considering he's a HB Force legendary, he can keep taunt up a lot of the time. This can be like a pseudo Death Knight type thing, right? It could actually be okay. He becomes very tanky, right? Very tanky, cleanses himself, big shield, taunt, reflect damage. The reflect damage does not synergize with the shield, by the way. Reflect damage doesn't work on shields, only on actual health damage, which is a lovely counter synergy. But yeah, I'm actually pretty hyped for that move. That move has a ton of potential. Blood Hell then, 4 goes to a 3-turn cooldown, fills the turn meter of all allies by 25%, and then has an 80 booking to 100% chance of placing block buffs on all enemies for 2 turns. Cannot be resisted if there's one of the dogs on the same team. I will say this again seems like a really bad synergy. He needs accuracy for his A1. He's going to need accuracy for his passive as well. So I think there's no way that you're running without accuracy. So I think this isn't super useful. The only thing it makes good is it removes that 3% chance, I would say, for things to fail. Or if there's some crazy high accuracy enemies, like sure, you get away with it. Seems like a pretty rubbish synergy to me. So let's just look at the basic move, which is a 3-turn cooldown, AoE block buffs, 100% chance. It's actually pretty solid. It's not an attack, so no weak hits, right? It just works. So AoE block buffs on a 3-turn cooldown is a decent move. That's actually, again, quite useful. So I'm thinking like, slap him into Hydra. We've got a very consistent Hydra tank by himself. No support needed. Very consistent Hydra tank. That's also going to potentially prevent devours. He's got an affinity-friendly 3-turn AoE block buffs. That's also giving you a good turn meter fill. Like, this is a solid champion for a lot of people for Hydra. You know, will he be super endgame? Probably not. Like, you know, Emic teams, for instance, are very good. It's probably mostly with Trunda more so, I would say, for like a budget, not budget, but like an auto-friendly Trunda team with just lots of sort of cooldown reduction champions. That's not like the hyper carry Trunda sort of team. Emic fits well into that. This guy has no cooldown reduction, so he doesn't bring it. But I mean, yeah, I think he's got good potential for Hydra. This is a decent move. I will say this move is mostly good for Hydra. I think that has some use in Arena as well. Like, he actually does have some use in Arena as an ultimate Death Knight style champ that is locking out single target damage dealers for a good chunk of the fight, but he's also potentially a turn meter booster and someone putting out block buffs. Problem is he does no buff strip tied in here, so Stone Skin would flummox this, or block debuffs would flummox it. But yeah, it's not a bad move. We Hunt as one then is passive. When attacked, puts Hex debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. Ally attacks on targets under a Hex debuff placed by this champion do 20% more damage, and when he is attacked, all ally dogs will counterattack. Very interesting. So he should be pretty darn consistent Hex champion for Hydra, for sort of anywhere. He's going to be pretty darn good for Hex, especially because he has such high uptime on his taunt. So again, makes him a very solid, I think, Hydra option. This is interesting. Ally attacks on target. So was chatting to YST about this, and we were saying like, I'm guessing that it is like ally attack, like, you know, Farrakhan the Fat, Lady Mikage, this passive, you know, where he brings, any champion would bring in teammates to attack, which is very powerful in Hydra as well. That would be that. This could also be interpreted like it's worded kind of badly. It could be interpreted that just any ally attack, like anytime an ally attacks at all, ever, you do 20% more damage. That seems way too powerful. I mean, there's champions like Firal, etc., that do that, but I think it's unlikely, maybe, but I think it's unlikely that it's just you do 20% more damage against enemies he has put a Hex on. I think most likely it's his passive, bringing in the ally attacks or any proper ally attack champions on your team, you're going to do more damage. A bit like there was an old Skinwalker that used to do something like this, or does. I don't actually have him. Longbeard has it where, yeah, when he does an ally attack, your team does 20% more damage. So it's not a big deal. It's more of like a nice perk. But yeah, it's a solid passive. He's just good at putting out Hex. I mean, again, we'll look at the dogs. There could be some good synergies here, but again, the dogs are kind of rubbish, so will it work? I don't know. But there you go. That's his full kit. I think this champion, he's not obviously insane, right? This is not like, wow, holy shit, it's Arman's 2.0, but I think he actually does have some good potential. And for, you know, early, mid, even some late game players for sure, he could be great for you in Hydra because he comes in. Yeah, he mischief tanks super well. Like I said, he's potentially the best taunt champion in the game for at least taunt uptime. I think Emic is better overall because Emic does a lot more stuff in his kit. But this guy, he's doing stuff similar to Emic, sort of similar to an Ultimate Death Knight, and he's got good utility on his A3 as well. So, and his passive. I think he's actually quite a solid Hydra champion. And seeing as he's a fragment fusion, bit easier to do. So I'm leaning towards getting it. Now let's think about the dog. So I think he's decent so far. Again, not the best, but he seems decent. Seems decent. For a lot of players. Let's look at the dogs. I need to find all the dogs. I think the epic one is in here. Yeah, Terror Beast. Okay, so this is Terror Beast. The epic. This would be his best shot, I suppose, for being good. I'm in the way. 93 speed here. Okay, HP damage. So his A1 is a single target attack with a 30% chance to increase the cooldown of a skill by 1 turn at random. So if their skill is not on cooldown, if you increase their skill by 1 turn, the skill is decreased by 1 turn at the start of their turn. So it does nothing unless it's already on cooldown a little bit, and then you're increasing the cooldown. But yeah, pretty terrible. So that's a really bad synergy. I don't think it does much damage either. So yeah, you're looking at his A1 ally attack. You're looking at his passive. Not too much there. Also, again, worth noting, he's got 2 3-turn cooldown moves, which are, in my opinion, very solid. He's not going to be doing his A1 very often. Just not. So you're not benefiting from this all that much. What I'd be curious to test out would be, what if we build this champion in like retaliation or something like that? So whenever he's hit with his A1, he puts on taunt, he keeps getting attacked. Does he bring in the dogs to counterattack every time he A1s? I'm not sure. We do have, by the way, a twist coming with the dogs later. This Shriek move, this one claps you on like Ice Golem stage 20 or 25. This one hits hard. Reflect damage on all allies for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Okay, that actually makes him worse at mischief tanking. And then he's got a double hit that heals him if he kills an enemy and stuns them for 2 turns if they survive. Pretty niche stuff here. Not amazing. And like, that's the epic, right? That's just about the best case scenario. Gore Mask might be in this faction as well. Yes, he is. So Gore Mask is this dog right here. He has a double hit A1. 35% damage from books. That's a massive amount. He actually does have good base stats, so that might be decent damage. 20% more damage if he crits. Again, 35% damage from books. And then, yeah, just ignore shield. So he's just single target damage. Nothing too special. So, like, this is the thing. Like, yeah, you get some nice synergies with the champion, but he's just a fairly basic single target attack. Is that really worth giving up a whole other good champion? They're easy to get, we'll say that. Hound Spawn, let's take a look. He might be Demon Spawn. I think he's the one you get from, yeah, he is, from campaign farming. Hound Spawn, 20% chance to stun, not great. Double hitter that can put decreased defense. Again, not amazing. And then he's got AoE that ignores defense. This move absolutely claps. So here's an interesting combo. This move slaps. Fully ignore defense AoE. Fully. Pretty strong, but only if Hellfang's on the same team. So there's a big limitation. Hellfang is over here. Hellfang has a 20% chance to put target skills on cooldown. I don't know what that is. That full lockout? That could be kind of funny. A full lockout A1, maybe? It's unclear exactly what that means. I think it is just a full Warlord style lockout. Just all your skills are fully on cooldown, but it's a tiny chance. That's a bit of a meme. Hunter's Mark, 3-turn cooldown weaken. A little bit more useful than the decreased defense, but not great. Then AoE freeze goes to a 80% chance to freeze on a 4-turn, but only if Hound Spawn's on the same team. So, I mean, you've got a bit of a meme arena team right there. If you put them in together, right? Hound Spawn and Hellfang. You put them in with this guy, he can put up block buffs. Hound Spawn has got a massive AoE. So they need to be frozen. So it ignores defense and block damage if they're frozen. So you need to basically them not have any buffs. Then you come in, AoE freeze, and then AoE nuke. It's really, you're trying very, very hard to make that work at this point. Like, it's not convinced by that. Fellhound, now, okay, Fellhound. I think we skipped one. Gore Mask. No, Fellhound is next and Stitch Beast. These are 2 Void Rares. These have more potential. So I think Fellhound has probably the most potential for Hydra. Fellhound has an AoE A1 with a 35% chance of the small version of decreased speed for 2 turns. Now, this could actually be pretty decent, right? You can build him as a campaign farmer, and he can be your campaign farmer, just like with some decent damage gear. But if you built him with accuracy, you threw him into, like, let's say if you're an early player, you throw him in, you build him as your campaign farmer, you're an early game player. Throw him in with this guy in Hydra. You've got a very solid team. It's hard to get good decrease speed champs for Hydra. This guy with a new blessing, there's a new blessing that gives him a chance to place the bigger version of decrease speed. And yeah, I actually think that's quite a solid combo for Hydra. Every time this champion's attacked, he's putting out Hex, he's Mischief tanking, turn meter boosting block buffs. His A1 is also bringing in just an AoE attack from this guy that can do okay damage with War Master and Hex. It will add up over time, gets you decreased speed. That's actually not a terrible combo. Now, are we going to come in and be like, wow, the new world record? It's Fellhound and Packmaster Shyman. What's he, Shy'ek? No, it's not going to happen, but it's an interesting combo that might be useful for some people. He also brings continuous heal reflect damage for everybody, so they might be decent, like for some Fire Knight stuff, if that ever came up in Cursed City. I don't know if it does. And he also puts block damage on a single ally for 1 turn, not really worth using, honestly. But yeah, that's not a terrible combo. And then Stitched Beast is, I think, undead. Stitched Beast is decent as well. So he's got a double hit A1, so damage. He's got a double hit, weaken. Okay. Each hit is a chance to weaken. It's okay. And then this move is actually decent. 4 turn cooldown, 100% turn meter decrease. There's some niche uses there. You know, he's not terrible. But yeah, so honestly, in terms of the Hound synergies, with the ones that are in there, not much that's too good. You've got, obviously, the Hound Spawn Hellfang meme combo. I don't know if that would actually be much useful. Put him in as your classic arena defense and kill some people that aren't thinking about it. I don't know. But he's so people will know about it. He's a fusion. I think Fellhound. Fellhound is the one with the best potential. I actually think, again, put him and Fellhound together in Hydra, and you are making Hydra a lot easier for like a newer player that's struggling. It's actually quite a solid combo. Yeah, that's actually quite solid, is my thoughts on that. Now, what is interesting, this is what Raid had to say about him. So let's check out their blurb. So you've got, he's useful in PvE, PvP, okay, etc., etc., so blah, blah, blah. Now, what is interesting here, very interesting to me, is at the end, they say, by the way, right, if you're not impressed with his current roster of loyal hounds, just wait. Packmaster Shy'ek is always on the lookout for new members to add to his pack. Ooh. Who knows what beast will join his side next? With a cheeky smile. Now that will certainly puts a pin. I don't know. Does it put a pin in people thinking to skip the fusion? But it definitely raises question marks. I don't know if I love this or hate this, because it's FOMO to the extreme, isn't it? It's like, uh-oh, if I skip this fusion, we could have then a new champion come out that could be a guaranteed champion. It could easily be a guaranteed champion that synergizes really, really well with this guy. Like, it could be a legendary dog that's actually good. And then suddenly you could actually have a really strong combo, right? Because he's okay with Fellhound. He's okay. He's decent on his own. But man, if there's a really strong combo, he could actually become very solid for certain things, right? With an ally attack, like counter attack, basically, for the other, like, if it's a good legendary dog, that could happen. Of course, the question is, will the legendary dog actually be good? Is it actually worthwhile? Will they actually be obtainable? These are all questions that we have no answer to and no way of knowing. I guess we'll see when we get test server access and when we can reveal all this. It'll probably be Tuesday, the 2nd of July. It's usually like a couple of days before the patch goes live. We can reveal all the new champions. So we'll see if there is a new dog that will synergize with him that's dropping in the same patch. If that happens, I would definitely be prepared to see some sort of guaranteed for them. But we don't know for now. But yeah, look, that's where we're at then. That's him. So it's the big FOMO question mark. There could be stronger synergies. Interesting as well, it says new members. Plural. Look at that, plural. It's not just new member. There will be one new. It's new members. So they could add more stuff in the future. Anyway, guys, let me know. What do you think of Packmaster Shy'ek? The initial response I saw in the CC chat and stuff was that people think he sucks. I actually don't think he sucks at all. I think a 2-turn taunt on a 3-turn cooldown is great, and I think his A3 is solid. Like I said, I think he actually looks pretty solid. The combo with the dogs is more of a meme, but who knows? Like there might be some funny, weird combos that you can do. I don't know. I don't. He's definitely fun. Like that's my take. This guy is interesting. There's some fun meme teams that we could potentially build with it. Will it be useful? I don't know, but it might be. It might not be. We'll see. So yeah, for me, I'm kind of set. I am gonna go for this guy because just in case this stuff is good, I might as well. I'll go for basically every fusion I can anyway. But I think that he will be worth it for me as a Hydra enthusiast. To build some cool. Hope we might do like a budget team build for you guys. We might do that for a showcase. Throw him in with some early game champions and a Fellhound and see what we can do. Yeah, I think he's a nice champ for early mid game players. Definitely for end game players, doesn't seem as good. It's really for end game. It's entirely the question of will there be a new OP dog in the future, which is a gamble. But yeah, we'll see. Guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.